Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. This is episode number 324. My name is Jason, owner of Outdoor Legacy and one of your co-hosts on the podcast. And as always, 324 episodes. He was here for all the other 323. Hans, what's going on tonight?
I'm waiting for the day when I just told that I'm no longer on the show, that my services have been dismissed, and you send me back in. So, hey, I don't know. We'll see how this thing goes. We'll see if we make it to 325. But
Exactly.
Jason, the masses out there, our inboxes have been flooded. The messages, the DMs, whatever you do, the way that you communicate.
I feel exaggeration, but go ahead.
Little bit of exaggeration here, but you know what? If you can't be dramatic, then what's the point of even showing up? So 2 Minute Tuesday. Here's what happened. A lot of people have asked what happened to 2 Minute Tuesday. Some people have emailed, commented, and all that. So here's what happened. We did do a 2 Minute Tuesday. We did upload it. It did go live for a couple hours, and the reason why we had to take down our 2 Minute Tuesday that we uploaded, and Jason right now is like, man, I recorded this thing and it was, went through all this and we just pulled it down. He didn't really say that, but I know that's what he was thinking. So we planned on this week, episode 324, we were going to have on a special guest, Ryan Killian, with Silencer Co. Suppressors, was going to be a guest on the show. We're really excited about having him. What happened was Ryan got sick over the weekend. I think he was at some type of convention or something work related, and ended up getting a bug. Couldn't talk. His throat was all scratchy and hoarse, and couldn't really talk without coughing. So we have rescheduled that show. We're really excited about having Ryan on the Late Night Vision Show. It's the first time we've ever had a guest come on and talk about suppressors, and he's an expert, obviously, with suppressors and specifically with the Silencer Co. brand, and that's who he works for. So we are excited about having him on. That show's been rescheduled. We will do that show as soon as we can. We'll put it out. But that's why there was no 2 Minute Tuesday, or there was technically, but it was almost immediately pulled back down, and we didn't re-upload one because we were kind of scrambling on what to do. But anyway, we are going to be doing another. I'll let you intro it, what we're going to do, Jason. But that's the explanation on 2 Minute Tuesday.
All right, good. Okay, so this week we're going to be reviewing something that we have had for a long time. Hans has been using it. I've been using it. And it's something that, to be honest, kind of got lost in the shuffle of reviews. And we realized that we hadn't done it. And so we're like, gosh, we've been really wanting to get back to reviews. I know we've had a couple comments. Somebody said, I wish I would start doing reviews again. I'm sure you're tired of hearing us I know it's true. Well, trust me, we want to be doing reviews more than you want us to be, because we really like reviews.
And when we do about 6 or 7 reviews in a row, and then it's like, man, I wish y'all had something else to talk about other than just reviews. But it's this time of year is, I think, perfect to do something like this. We had so many scopes to review during the busier time, but now, what we're going to be talking about today, I think is perfect timing.
Yeah, so we're going to be reviewing the InfiRay Outdoor M6T. This is distributed by InfiRay USA here in the U.S., and this unit is something that we've never reviewed on the show. It is a thermal optic, unlike anything we've put on the show before, and it is, I don't know exactly what they call it. I probably should have looked, but I'm going to call it a roof-mounted or top-mounted thermal optic. I'm going to just try to show it here real quick so you can
vehicle-mounted.
Yeah, vehicle-mounted. Yeah. It looks kind of like R2-D2, and it's a cool unit.
I think I made a post with R2 that and R2D2 really together.
Good.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite posts ever.
I have to go dig that up. Maybe show it at the end of the show or something.
So here's the thing with this, guys. This is very different, and I want to start out with saying that, number one, this is not something that is going to be for everybody, and we know that. This is a very specific tool for I think a specific job or specific people. Not everybody is going to need one of these. And again, we know that. It is something that, to the right guy who needs it, and there's several different use cases, and we're going to talk about some of that. it's going to be like a dream come true. And I think for other guys, they're like, why would I ever want that thing on top of my truck or my mule or side by side? And that's completely understandable. But for the guys I think figure out and realize what it can do for them, they're going to be really excited about it. It is the InfiRay Outdoor M6T with a price of $6,999. Hans, tell them what this baby will do.
So we're going to run down the specs, show a little bit of video. Jason's going to talk about, he's going to show it. I think he already did show it, but he's going to maybe walk around a little bit more. Obviously, our likes and dislikes. Really, I think the main thing and kind of the meat and potatoes of what you were talking about, Jason, is really finding out who this is good for. And I can think of several right now, groups of people or even specific people that I know that'd be perfect for. But I'm going to run down the specs real quick, and then we will kind of get into some discussion on it. So this is it's a 640 by 512 thermal resolution. It is 12 micron. It's got a 50 hertz refresh rate. It's got a sub 50 millikelvin NETD thermal sensor rating. It starts at 1x, 1 power, and goes up to 4 power. So it does have magnification. It's 4 times digital zoom. It's got a detection range of 1,375 yards with an ID range. The ID range is going to be about 400 yards on I guess on a hog size animal. I've got some video I'm showing. Deer might be a little bit further than 400 yards. Smaller animal might be a little bit closer. And you might say, well, it's a 640 resolution. Why isn't it, a little bit further identification range? Well, it's a 1 power base optic. So that it's got a low base magnification, and that's for a very good reason. You're riding around in a truck with this thing on the roof. You really don't want any magnification. You want a wide field of view. You want to see that there's something out there in the field so you can stop your truck or whatever and point your monocular at it. That's basically what it's for. So it does have a good detection range, and I think that it has as far as identification range, I think it's has a good identification range for what it is and for what it does. It does have Wi-Fi, so you can stream this to your cell phone or to a tablet. It's IP56 weather rating. It weighs 70.5 ounces. Don't mount it on a rifle. You won't like that. And it does come with the InfiRay. I just thought of what it would look like on top of a rifle and got a little bit chuckled. And it does come with the InfiRay Outdoor InfiRay USA 5-year warranty. Jason already said the price, $69.99. And this baby is yours. So let's play some prices right. And let's get up and start doing some spinning the wheel or something, That's the specs. Jason, why don't you show them again exactly what it looks like?
I'm going to throw in a couple more things. I was trying to find a couple more specs that I couldn't. One thing somebody's probably going to ask, it does weigh 70 ounces. And that's why you don't want it on your rifle. But I would say this, the weight does not matter because you're putting it on top of your vehicle.
Well, you do got to carry it to the truck. Yeah, I mean, come on now,
It's not, the weight doesn't matter. I will say it is made out of aluminum and it is a beefy unit. I mean, at 70 ounces, when you pick it up over here, and that's what I like about it. I mean, I feel very good about it because of the bulk, the weight. Again, this is all aluminum. When you pick this up and you look at it and you touch it, you feel it, it's not as if you are, picking up a big, cheap piece of plastic. There's a lot here.
It's sturdy. And I'll tell you a funny story. I remember, we tested this thing. I had it for a long time. And I remember, when you put something like that, you're basically putting $7,000 on the top of your truck, and just rolling down the road. But we got to test this thing. We got to see what we can do. I put it on the top of my truck, and I'll let you show the suction cups and all that and how it works. But I'm just sitting there like rolling down the road, 50, to go up to 60 miles an hour, 70. I'm like, I hope when I get to my first hunting spot that thing's still on top of my truck and it's not laid out on the road somewhere. Because, it feels weird to mount something like that with suction cups on top of a vehicle and then just take off on the road. And around here, Jason, back roads, it's bumpy. potholes, and you're just sitting there praying, oh my gosh, I hope that thing's still up there.
So,
But yeah,
so with that, and by the way, I was trying to hold this thing and you were talking,
yeah.
I had to set it down. All right. So with that, you can see right here what you've got. Let's start with the bottom. These are your 4 suction cups. All right. You're going to put this up there, and what you do is you take this, and this is pumping. And what that's doing is it's sucking the air out of there, and it is suctioning down. And you do this little red line here until it doesn't come back out. So when these get sucked way down, then this is holding. And you can sit there and watch it for a minute, and if you have a slow leak, it'll start coming back out. And then you kind of know, reposition, press it down, do it again. Do this on all 4 of these. Now, there's also been the issue that some trucks, every truck roof is different. I know some of the Fords, some of them, they've got different ridges. You may not get all 4 suction cups on there. We were told by InfiRay, if you can get 3 of them, then you're good to go.
Oops.
So
I only got 2 on my Ford truck.
Well, you know what? I forgot about that. And we asked them and they said, go for it. But they said 3, no problem.
It held.
Now, there is
that
another,
thing was on there tight. So, I mean, I put 2, I had 2 full cups on there. The other 2 were hanging off, so they weren't able to get any suction at all. But I mean, I ran down the road, and I mean, it did not go anywhere. It did not budge. So
every time I pick this thing up, you start talking again.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this thing's 70 ounces. Okay,
70 ounces, y'all. It's not even a 5-pound dumbbell we're talking about.
Okay, so right here, you see where these nuts are. Actually, this is that's where the suction cups are bolted on there. Okay, you have to do that yourself when you get it. If you want, you can bypass the suction cups, and you can use bolts or self-tapping screws or whatever you need to mount this permanently onto something. Or I say permanent, it doesn't even have to be permanent. Maybe, if you're willing to drill the holes in the top of your truck or in the top of your side-by-side, you may want to just, take the bolts off when you're done with it. I know that there's some guys that have basically mounted some sort of a bracket up there that they leave permanently, and then they just take these, take this off and on as they need to. So the bracket's there, screwed into their truck. They're not taking the screws off, whatever. Anyway, suction cups are the way that I would do it, because I do want to be able to take this off. I'm not going to leave it up there permanently. Suction cups have worked perfectly. I had it on the top of my Ranger, riding around, bouncing around. I'm with Hans. Made me very nervous, but it worked. No issues. I've got a plastic roof, and I can get all 4 of these suction cups on there, and that thing is rock solid. So you're good to go. All right. So as you can see, this is a PTZ, pan, tilt, zoom. So this does, go up and down, and then it does pan back and forth. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Now, moving back here, this is your little Wi-Fi wireless antenna. This is how you're going to connect this wirelessly to your monitor. We'll talk more about that. And then right here, there's basically a couple connectors. All right, I got to set this thing down. Okay, so here's what you get with this unit. Number 1, you can mount that up on top of your, let's say your truck, your side-by-side. And then you can pick up your iPad and, well, hold on. You can't do that. You got to do one thing. You've got to plug this cable in the back. It's a little BNC connector, all right? And so then, let me get the other end of this. So you've got this long cable here. And on the other end, you have 3 connectors, all right? So you've got, just show them right here. There's all 3 of them. Okay, this one you plug into your joystick. So I'll do that right here. Should not be doing this while I'm on camera. All right, there it is. This is your joystick. Hold this in your hand. You've got 2 buttons right here, and you've got this, again, joystick controller. And that's how you can control the unit. All right, you can, pan, tilt, zoom, all the stuff you can do with these buttons. And that's very convenient. This is a very nice soft plastic, kind of textured, feels real good in your hand. This right here, you're going to plug in this, and now it goes to a cigarette lighter. Okay, it's 12 volt. If you want to hardwire this in, you absolutely could do that. No question. You can get the wires, to just plug that in, simple connector. But cigarette lighter is one quick way to do that. This cable right here, you're most likely not going to use. This is a connector that will plug into certain types of hardwired video monitors. All right. So if you wanted to hardwire this into a monitor, you could do that. Most people are not going to, because what they're going to do is once you've got this cigarette lighter plugged in, the unit now has power. And when it has power, it turns on the Wi-Fi inside of this. Again, guys, when you hear Wi-Fi, a lot of people get confused and they start thinking, oh, this thing's going to get on the internet. Nothing like that. It's using Wi-Fi like Bluetooth. All right. And so what happens at that point is you'll go to your iPad or any tablet with Wi-Fi that can download the InfiRay Outdoor app, or a cell phone will work as well. You download the app, you go and you connect to the Wi-Fi on this unit. Okay. And it'll show up in there as the M6T, whatever. You enter your password, all that's in the manual. You connect, you open the app, boom. At that point, you have a live viewer. Guys, if you already own a scope, you know what I'm talking about here. You know how you can connect your phone or your tablet to your scope. Exact same thing. So once you understand, it's the exact same thing. You're doing that wirelessly. If you don't want to do that wirelessly, you can always go find you some kind of monitor, mount that on your dash, do whatever. But for me, the iPad, or the tablet is just really, really easy. Worked really well for me.
Yeah.
So that's the way that Hans and I both did it. And so I'm trying to think here if I'm missing something. You can, I know what I was going to say. You can control everything, as I mentioned, from this joystick. You can move it, pan, tilt, zoom, all that. But the app on the iPad or on the tablet or phone also gives you all the controls. And so if you don't want to use this, you don't have to do that. You can reach up there and move your finger around, pan, tilt, you can zoom, you can calibrate, you can change the color palettes, you can change your brightness, you can change everything from the app. You can record. It even has some parameters in there where if you want to do some auto scanning, where you set like a point here, point there, where it'll go like go, stop. It's just like panning back and forth. Some pretty cool features in the app, some different things it'll do. Also, I don't even know if we mentioned this, it does have a laser rangefinder built into it. So that is something that's pretty cool. There are some limitations. I think we'll talk about that in a minute, but it does have laser rangefinder. Hans, I kind of feel like I've been all over the place here with this, but there's just a lot going on with it.
There is, yeah.
There's all these cables, and I didn't want to just say, oh, you hook it up. I kind of wanted to show you these cables so you kind of know what to expect and what you're going to be looking at, but that'll leave anything major out.
No, I think you're right. When you get the box, it comes in a big box. You probably don't have it there just because it's massive. But
it's big. It's a big box.
When you get it, it could kind of seem a little overwhelming. I would say I don't think that's a accurate or inaccurate description. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of wires. There's nuts and bolts and suction cups and all this stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh, but I think because my buddy Jason, who loves me, I can tell you, he said he had it out, played with it, put it all back together the way it came to him. He said, I'm going to send it to you and I want you to figure it out. Didn't tell me nothing about it. He wanted me to just figure it out. And once you dive into, like I said, you open the box, you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of stuff. But it does start making a little bit more sense once you start putting it together in a suction cup. I mean, it's not.
I will say, Hans and I both managed, and we didn't have a manual. So when we got this unit, it was pre-production, no manual, and we had to figure it out. There is a very good manual now. I actually downloaded that manual, printed it out just to go over everything and see what we missed by not having that manual and figuring it out on our own. It is a good manual. It walks you step by step on how to do everything. I would say that there's some other wires and stuff. There's another option in there for plugging in the back and using a different style. It's not a monitor, but it's some sort of, I don't have my notes in front of me. It's some sort of a keyboard system. They don't sell it. You can get it from a third party. I don't even know what it is.
It really,
I don't think most people are going to use that. The way that we're using it, I talked to the InfiRay guys again. I'm like, hey, I want to make sure, because we kind of figured this out on our own, and that's how we do things. But this is a different unit. I want to make sure we're not missing something. We talked to them again, and they're like, no, you're doing it the way that 99.9% of the people are going to use it. I was like, okay, good.
it almost seems like they designed this thing to try to think of every possible use case scenario. Like, what if somebody wants to hook it up to a monitor? What there's, somebody wants to hook it up. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe the keyboard thing is for law enforcement. They can plug and do, maybe I just feel like, because again, there's so many wires and cables and plug-ins that this thing probably does way more than what the average person will do with it. Yeah. So I think that once you realize, hey, this is all I have to do to get this thing the way I need it, everything else, you kind of tune out all the other things that it could probably do. But let's, you want to get into the dislikes and the likes?
I do.
You want to, okay.
No, I want to do that. I want to get this out of the way. So I've got a list of dislikes, and this is a $7,000 unit. It's new. It's I don't want to say it's new technology, but there's not a lot out there like this. This is a much higher quality than most anything on the market today out there like that. I know that there's some other lesser known name brands or a name brand, I think, that's got one out there. I don't think the reviews have been good on it. I don't think it's much cheaper, but I don't think it's built well. A lot of negative things. This
is the first one that isn't it the first one we've ever reviewed or
it
sold?
Is. We've never reviewed one like this on the show.
Yeah.
And this is the first one that I would say is a quality that we could recommend. I'm telling you, guys, this is a real deal. This is not a cheap piece of plastic. It feels really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go over my dislikes, and I'm going to just tell you the truth. There's several dislikes here, and some of them are petty. Some of them are bigger. Some of them are so petty that Hans can't believe I'm going to mention them.
The first one's probably the most petty, but
okay,
yeah,
I was going to leave that until last, but okay. Guys, I'm sorry, this is goofy. Why are these blue? What are those blue? I mean, they're going to come up with some reason to tell me why these are blue. And they could not give me one. The only thing I can come up with is that maybe they want me to be able to look up there in the dark and see if this is all the way out or if it's down in here. Maybe that's why, but they didn't tell me that. InfiRay couldn't give me an answer. I would have made him black. I'd have made him something, but whatever.
Jason told me his list of dislikes, and he read that first one, and I was like, really? I mean, I just can't that's where this is going. Blue. Okay. I'll be honest with you. You said from day one, like, why are these things blue?
Weird. It really. It's not going to stop me from putting it on top of my.
It never really
Polaris,
my
but
mind.
It is what it is.
Yeah,
all right, next, moving on. We got to get going here. So. This isn't a dislike as much as it's just something to consideration. Maybe I just don't need to take it out of here, but it's the cable management. So that's the other thing. And we're going to need to talk about that. I think we need to do this more in the overview. I'm going to make a note down here. And you got to do something with these cables. This is a very long, I don't measure it. I don't know how long it is. It's plenty long to run these cables, whether you want to permanently do it through a firewall, whether you want to do it through your truck window temporarily, or, around your Ranger or Mule roll bar or whatever. The cables are plenty long, but you also got to kind of figure out what to do with them. And when you've got like these connectors that you're not using, you don't want this banging around, dragging out there in the mud. So I don't think it's a negative, but I think you need to consider it. I would probably take some electrical tape or something, tape that up, tape it, maybe back to itself or something, so that's not dragging. I don't think it's a negative. It was just on there. This one is a bit of a negative. And so if you're using this toggle here, what you're going to find is, let's say that I'm not even going to use an animal, okay? A deer or a hog or a coyote. I'm going to actually use something like a tree that's much bigger, all right? Let's say you got a tree at 200 yards and you want to put the laser rangefinder on it. You enable the laser rangefinder and you got the little square cursor, the little box or whatever that you're going to, put on it to send the laser down. And let's say that your little cursor is over here and you got to get it on here. So you press this to move it. Well, what it does is you don't have that fine tuning of a movement and it goes, whoop, and now it's over here on the other side. And you go, ooh, just a little more. Whoop, now you're back over here. And it's very difficult to get that. I shouldn't say very, but it's difficult to get that right on the object. I would say it is very difficult if you want to put this on a coyote or a hog or a deer. It's a small animal at a long range. I would say with this, not going to be easy. And it's not that this thing's moving all over, but it's just a little bit too far, and you kind of got to play with it back and forth until it gets on there. If the animal was moving, you're probably not going to do it. Now, another option is on the app, on the tablet or the phone, you can take your finger and you can more easily put that cursor on the animal or the object. So again, I'm just going to shoot you straight. I don't really know why you would necessarily be trying to look in and range a coyote or something exactly, to take the shot, because you're probably not going to be sitting inside your mule doing that. It's possible, but probably not likely. So I don't think you do that a lot, but it would be nice to be able to look down there and go, hey, how far is that fence line, or how far is that barn, or whatever. So I just think that's something, there's a little bit of fine adjustment that's hard with this. And what you'll only notice that when you try to put the laser rangefinder. It's fine for just panning around and moving. Another thing, very small, but on the app, the meter or the LRF readout is only in meters. Currently, right now, summer 2024, it cannot be changed to yards. It's in meters, just so you know that. I don't know if that's ever going to be changed or not. Also, I don't know why the font, the letters where it says, the range are a very low resolution. And so they're kind of pixelated. You can read it. It's fine. I asked about that and they just said that's just normal in this app. So
reminds me of the font that they used on the old Mortal Kombat video games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, an old Nintendo game.
Yeah.
And so then the last thing that I will say, and this is worth bringing up. The connecting to your tablet or phone via the Wi-Fi should be a simple process. Okay. I had trouble getting it connected the first time. It would, and Hans didn't seem to have these troubles, but I did. And I tried multiple things here trying to get it, and it would, sometimes it wouldn't show up, then it would show up, then it wouldn't take. I don't know. I fought it a little bit. Ended up connecting it to my phone very quickly and easily. Then I went back to the tablet and it connected. I don't know why, but it did. All was good. So then coming back to the unit later, going to connect it, because every time you're going to have to manually connect to it. When you turn the unit on, you put power to it, then you're going to have to, reconnect the Wi-Fi. Now, if you've got it on your tablet, it should automatically try to connect to it. Okay. Mine did, but it had some trouble over the time. Sometimes, boom, it'd connect immediately. Sometimes I would have to fight it a little bit, like try it 2 or 3 times, or manually close the app and open it back up after it was connected. So it was a little glitchy there. Now I'm going to transition this to the positives. Once the unit was connected, I never lost the connection between the two. It was extremely solid, extremely good. I was never connected or riding around or using it and lose connection. So that the connection strength, once it gets there, was really, really, really good. So I don't want to overplay that a little. I mean, it wasn't the end of the world, but it was somewhat of an annoyance. It's worth mentioning there. Hans, I've been talking a long time. I've got a whole list of positives, but I'm going to let you do those because they're probably tired of hearing me. But I don't want people to think I'm doing nothing but complaining, because I do have a long list over here of positives. Do you have anything you want to mention?
Yeah, I mean, going into the positives, the negatives, I think that you covered everything and then some with the blue suction cups.
I know. Well,
I
what
gotta
we're
give you
here
a hard
for.
time. We're
I
here
know.
for it. Yeah, absolutely. So
Good, bad, ugly. We're going to tell you the
exactly, man, exactly. So the positives, I would say that I really liked the Wi-Fi functionality of it. I think that it was so much smoother when you're doing, controlling the pan and tilt. I felt I started out when I first started testing this thing. I used the joystick. I don't know, is that what we're calling it? Joystick or
I think so.
hand?
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I used the joystick, the wired in joystick, and then I transitioned to the app, and I was like, I'm never using the joystick again. The joystick to me was the way that I described it to Jason, it seemed very rigid. It just seemed like it was just not smooth when you're
Not precise is what you're
Yeah,
trying to say.
not very smooth at all. So I really like the Wi-Fi, like Jason said. I really didn't have any connection issues at all. And yes, I am the older one of the group. I'm older than Jason. And I was
by at least 4 or 5 months.
yeah. So I was able to figure it out. Before the young buck, I guess. No, I didn't have the issue. And we get comments all the times from other about other optics where somebody has an issue connecting to their phone to a scope or to a monocle, whatever. And sometimes it's not a wide issue. Sometimes it's just with that cell phone or that
I was
tablet.
gonna say sometimes it could be my tablet. I mean, my iPad could be 100% be the problem.
So you may be like me and not have an issue at all, or you might be like Jason, and there might be in the initial beginning you might have some.
And I admit it connected to my iPhone with no issues at all. So I mean that.
See, and I didn't try it on my cell phone. I only did it on the tablet, so it would be have a big screen on it. But man, really love that. The laser rangefinder, I think, is a nice addition. Right now, there's no other vehicle mounted thermal with a laser rangefinder, so they can boast about that. I agree with you. How much are you actually going to use it? Probably not that much, but you have it. I mean, at least
cool.
It's there, and it's nice to have.
So, yeah, I think that trying to finish up these likes, obviously, image quality is spot on. It's a very, very, very good 640 image. I'll be honest with you. I'm already waiting. I just dread this. I hate when people take specs and try to tear apart a unit they've never seen. They don't understand. Somebody's going to hear that 50 millikelvin NETD rating, and they're going to go, "Oh, it's not going to be very good." Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. It's fantastic. It's a very good image. If you'd have told me it was 25, I'd have believed it. It looks really good.
That didn't seem.
I'm going to disagree a little bit, and I'm going to say that I preferred the controller, and my reasoning was because I could hold this and not look at anything while I was driving or messing around. Again, I wouldn't suggest driving down the road with
You
it.
just ratted yourself out.
I only mounted this thing on my Ranger. But while I was driving, I could be sitting there just moving this. Boom. I mean, literally, this way, that way. I don't think that when you're sitting there, if you're holding your iPad, that's not a bad thing. But I kind of had mine mounted up on my dash, and I had to reach up there, and it just felt awkward. So I really liked this. So I think you are right, though. You do get a little finer precision with the iPad. I really, really like the suction cups, okay? Because I'm not going to permanently mount this. I'm not going to screw into anything. For me personally, suction cups are great. I know some people say, well, what about magnetic? I think that'd be a nice option to have, but my Ranger roof is not. It's plastic. My hood on my Ranger is plastic, and a lot of these new vehicles now are either plastic, aluminum, since something that a magnet's not going to stick. So I think the suction cup is really a good option. I like that a lot.
I agree.
And then just overall, I'm going to say it again: build quality, build quality, build quality.
Yep.
Really, really good. Hans, let's go ahead and talk about who this thing is good for. I have a couple opinions on it. Why don't you take the hunting aspect and tell us, hunters, who do you think's the kind of guy who's going to use this and who ought to be considering it?
So, and I think we can get through this pretty quick. This is for the hunter that's got everything. You've got a scope, maybe two. You've got a monocular, and you're somebody that's probably covering a lot of ground at night, whether you're coyote hunting, hog hunting. I know guys that have tens of thousands of acres of access that do a lot of driving every night when they go out and hunt, and they're usually scanning these properties as they're driving by just to see if there's something in the field, a hog in the field, or if there's coyote activity. So I do see this as somebody who's I don't know if you say like a professional, a guide, a professional guide, or you talk about people that are on these the hunting tournament circuits that they've got the rig, they've got the elevated rack on top of their truck, they've got the lights, they've got everything. Somebody like that is more than likely going to have a vehicle mounted thermal. I'll tell you that. If these guys, and it's very serious, the hunting circuit tournaments, they're doing several of them a year. Like I said, they've got all the gadgets and everything. This is going to be right up your alley if you got that. But this is for somebody that, again, covers a lot of ground, is in their vehicle a lot, or on a side-by-side quite a bit when they're going out to their hunting spots. And this is for somebody that's, I would say, that's well vested into the night hunting hobby. I would say that. So that's in a nutshell. I mean, unless you feel like I left anything out.
No, I don't think on the hunting side. I'm going to take this a totally different way. And I think this is a really, really strong market for this. And I'm going to lean towards the security minded or even preppers. I mean, maybe that falls into one. I mean, I think security could be law enforcement. It could be private security. It could be, I know I've talked to some guys in like the oil and gas business. They've got some sensitive locations and they've got some things where, they got people trying to get in there, whether it's to steal stuff, whether it's to sabotage, maybe some, antis, whatever, and they're having to monitor, and they're buying handhelds, and they're sitting there. I mean, I talked to a guy who's sitting there all night long looking through a handheld, and he was trying to wire it to an iPad. And this guy's getting paid good money by a big oil company. This is something where I think that you could sit there and, whether you're in your truck or whatever, even in an office. I mean, this thing could be mounted if you're in like a guard shack kind of deal.
Oh, yeah.
To have that as a setup for security, I think that'd be a really big deal. If we kind of go with the prepper mindset of, civil unrest, end of the world as we now know it, that sort of thing, I think again, if you're looking for that idea of, hey, we're going to set up, we're going to control this perimeter. We want to know if anyone is coming in 360 degrees or 180 or whatever that is. I think this thing is legit for that. And it's, once you have this thing set up, this is something that anyone can use. I mean, this is something that you could set a woman or a child, or that sounded really bad. That was not, it didn't come out the way, but you could though. It's not like if I give my wife my rifle with a thermal scope and I'm like, here, go out there and tell me if something comes out. She's going to be like, what am I got to all this? But you say, look at this iPad, tell me if you see something. That's just way different. And I would trust my kids with that. You don't, you're not giving them a firearm. So anyway, I think that there's some usage there. I'll tell you one that I think is probably a little more limited, but I think that is legit, and that is big time ranchers. And I mean, I'm talking guys that have got a lot of land, a lot of cattle, and I know sometimes, especially during calving season, they're having to go out there, check on cows at night. Maybe it's issues with winter and it's snow. They're checking cows, it's flooding, whatever it is, but they're out there at night and they're looking for, maybe all the cows, maybe a certain cow or two. You mount this thing again on top of your truck or your side by side. You're going to ride around out there. And I think it's going to be very, very helpful for those guys who've got a lot of ground to cover. And again, they're looking for, maybe a cow that's calving. And I think that Hans hit really, really well on the hunting aspect of it. I think the coolest thing would be just even take the hunting and all that out of it. If you've got a place with a lot of roads whether it's, ranch roads or trails through the woods or whatever. I just think like a lot of roads, a big place. This thing right here would be a ball of fun at night
Oh,
because rather than, and we've all done this, if you've got thermals, you get your handheld or something and then you ride up on this hill. Hey, let's see what's out there. All right, we'll go around this corner. We're going to look down this pipeline, see what's down there. This is just pull up to it and scan.
yeah.
I mean, I think it'd be a lot of fun for that. So anyway, I think there's a lot of different uses for it.
Yeah. And I would say also you're not going to want, you're going to want to wire it up in this vehicle and that's going to be where it goes. I mean, either your hunting truck or your mule, you're not going to have to rewire this thing every time, which is basically what I was doing. Obviously I wasn't going to permanently install this thing, but getting the wires out every time and running them every time, you're going to want to set this up on this ride, and that's where it's going to go every time. That way it makes it easy to hook it up every time and be ready to go.
One quick note on that, I do want to say. So I was doing the same thing. I was taking it off and on. I took this off of my Ranger this morning. I don't have doors on it. So all I did was run these cables from the roof down around. I've got a little handle right there that's on the A-frame, and I ran them through there so they wouldn't dangle down. I didn't even zip tie. I didn't do anything. I just ran them right over there to my seat, and very quick and easy. Unhooking this, I went up there, popped the suction cups off, pulled it down, pulled the cables out, rolled them up, and I walked off. 60 seconds, I'm off. I can have it back up there. It's going to take me 90 seconds to put the suction cups on. So I agree. I would want to be going back to the same thing over and over. If you're going to use it all the time, I'd zip tie those cables where I wanted them or whatever. But I do say that it's not that hard.
No, it's not.
If you're even on your truck, roll down your window, crack
Not
it
at all.
to run these cables through there. All right. I know we're going a little longer than we intended, so we need to kind of wrap this. I want to say some just general overall thoughts, and I'm going to let Hans come back with this. Again, this unit is $6,999. It is made to be mounted on top of your side-by-side or your truck or your tractor or whatever, some sort of vehicle.
Tractor.
You do have a full, I know it's pretty cool. You do have a full pan, tilt, zoom. It is a one power, no magnification, which is exactly what you want. You don't want this unit to have a bunch of magnification. You're looking for wide field of view. This unit is for detecting. It's for detecting heat. It's for detecting animals, people, whatever it is. You've got this really, really wide view that you can see. I will say, I don't think that this unit is ideal for someone who says, I am scared of technology. I don't like complicated things. I've got a flip phone. I can't turn on my TV with the remote. Any of that. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just being honest with you. There's between the cables, between the app, the Wi-Fi, it's not complicated, but it is for someone that is comfortable with those things and has experience. If you've got a thermal scope and it's nothing for you to connect that to your phone or tablet via Wi-Fi, and it's like, big deal, do it all the time, I download videos. Okay, then you can probably do this. No big deal. These wires aren't going to scare you, but I do think there's going to be a certain amount of people that are going to open the box and they're going to go, oh my gosh, this looks complicated. There's nuts, there's bolts, there's screws, there's cables, there's some extra cables in here. I got to download an app. And I think that's going to overwhelm them. So I think if you're one of those people that you just resist that and you just don't even like the thought of it, then it might not be for you. I think that's why Hans mentioned it would be really good for people that maybe already own a couple thermal scopes. Maybe they've got a handheld scanner. This is just adding to the list of tools in the toolbox.
And it's not, like you said, it's not complicated, but the first time, like I said, you open that box, it's a little bit intimidating. I mean, it is. And once you get past that and you got the manual, it's fine, but it's not complicated. It's doable, but it is
Yeah, and you got to be able to climb up on top of your truck or your side-by-side or whatever it is, your buggy. You got to be able to get up there and mount this thing and get the suction cups down. And so there is a little bit involved there. Again, I think image quality is fantastic. The laser rangefinder is great. You don't have to worry about batteries or battery life.
Right.
It is, like I said, cigarette lighter. I think it's worth mentioning that a lot of side by sides, the cigarette lighter does not work when the key is turned off.
Right.
So for like my Ranger, I have to have the key on, which then means that my tail lights are on. And it also means how long is that thing going to sit there?
Yeah.
I've done it for an hour playing with this thing and had no issues. But if you were going to do this all the time and you don't want your side by side, or maybe if your truck is that way, then I do think you're going to want to bypass, go straight from the battery, and have you, even if it's just a female for this cigarette adapter to plug in there, and then you've got nonstop power. That's something to consider. So overall, really cool unit. I think that I expect we'll see more optics like this in the future, because the thermal market right now, where I see we're going, is scopes were the most, that's where we were at. Handhelds have become way more common. Then we went to the helmet mounted. That's becoming more and more popular all the time. The smaller, lighter weight optics. Then thermal drones have really been gaining popularity over the last 3 or 4 years. I think this is just the next step of that. Of hey, what else cool can we put thermal in? And I think this is that option, and who knows what they'll be next. But I do think that we'll see more of this as time goes on. And it's a really good unit. Again, I know the price is going to set back a lot of people, and they're going to say, my gosh, who's got $7,000 for this? But this is for, as Hans said, the guy who's already got everything. It's for the professional. It's for the guy who just, I need the best. I'm going to use it. I want it. This is my hobby. This is what I do, or this is what I do for a living. Or again, I need it on the farm. I need it for security. I need it for if we have, civil unrest. Though I think it's a specific reason to want this, unless you just have the money and it's a cool toy, and then that's a whole other thing, and that's up to you.
All right. So that is the review of the InfiRay Outdoor M6T25. Jason, I give it an A+. So if you disagree with that, tell us in the comments. No, I'm joking. Please don't.
Do not.
So if you are looking, and we failed to mention this in the beginning of the show, if you're looking to buy a brand new night vision thermal optic, R2D2 thermal that you can put on your truck, your mule, we'd love to have your business either way. OutdoorLegacyGear.com, 877-350-1818. You can call us. You can talk to me. You can talk to Jason. We would love to help you with the purchase of your next optic. So if you're looking to find more episodes of the Late Night Vision Show, you can do it on the website, thelatenightvisionshow.com. You can find us on all the socials under the same name. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube, Hans ETX, and also Outdoor Legacy. Jason?
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. If you've got questions about it, give us a call. You may be watching this and go, looks really cool. Don't know if this will work for me or not. I don't know. Will it do this? Will it do that? Call us. We're glad to help. We'd love to have your business on this unit. And guys, we're going to be back. We've got, again, that interview with Ryan Killian. We're excited about that. We got more reviews we're still working on, be coming later in a few weeks. Stay tuned right here, the Late Night Vision Show. Between now and then, y'all stay safe.